Hi everyone, I'm Ethne Gale and it's one of my favourite times of the year where I do my annual eligibility and recommendations video. I'll start by briefly talking about my 2024 eligible works first. In 2024, my new short fiction collection Pick Your Potion came out, and amongst its many stories it had 4 original, i.e. never published before, short stories inside it. The Magic in Our Hands, 3,400 words. A young woman chooses between a couple of magical powers she shows affinity for, but given the magical community she's entering, has she made the right choice? Overnight, a forest grew. 1,500 words. A perfumer's assistant wakes up to find millions of trees have erupted under her city overnight. Small Annie Moe, 1,800 words. Amongst the COVID lockdowns, a struggling new mother appreciates the comfort of some imaginary pets, but later realises that something is very wrong. Marina, Hel and Katie save the universe. 6,000 words. As everyone else in their lives starts existing on concerning autopilot, tempting portals open up for our 3 teenage girls. But are the portals trying to kill them? And now onto the recommendations. So, as usual, to qualify for this list, a story would have to be first published in 2024, shorter than novel length, free to read online, and actually read by me. So of course I can only read a small portion of the stories published in any given year. With all of that in mind, here are 10 of my favourite stories from 2024. The Best Version of Yourself by Grant Collier in Clarkesworld magazine. This is a unique story about choosing whether or not to get nanobots in your brain, and that asks and deftly explores a lot of questions. Questions like, what makes someone human? Does being human require suffering in some form? How much can you change and still be yourself? And of course, would you get the nanobots in your brain? It's excellently written as well and grounds the story wonderfully in an evolving relationship between a mother and a daughter. I love a story that really makes me think. Loneliness Universe by Eugenia Triantafilou in Uncanny magazine. A fascinating piece about a woman who finds herself physically disconnected from everyone she knows and cares about. They can be in the same house, they can text and email each other, but they can't see each other, can't hear each other, can't call each other. Loneliness Universe has a lot of lovely things to say about human connection, and it made me tear up at the end. Remembering Day by Vanessa Fogg in Uncharted magazine. This is another tale about what makes us human, about the limits and wonders of experience within our current fleshy bodies in the 2020s, and about trying to maintain relationships when the gulf of experience is so wide. It's told in Fogg's signature poetic style, and it made me cry big fat tears. Markets of the Other World by Rati Malhotra in Uncanny magazine. I'm a sucker for a story about a magical market, and Markets of the Other World delivers in spades. Dense with delightful lore and skillfully written, this is a metaphoric love letter to dedicating one's life to the fantastic, and about what that might mean at the end of that life. Another one where I teared up at the end. Toronto Isn't Real and Other Metropolitan Anomalies by A.D. Suey in Augur magazine. An intriguing, compelling story about the possibility that you live in a simulation and the possibility of communicating with someone outside of that. The ending surprised me and then felt inevitable, as many good endings do. Date Night by Jan Stinchcombe in Gamut magazine. A fast-paced, compulsive story that interrogates the trope of the slasher killer hunting the babysitter and the recurring roles everyone plays in that sort of story. Gripping and precise, this felt like a fresh and unusual read. The Red Queen's Heart by Vanessa Fogg in Lightspeed magazine. Another story about a magical market, lucky me, this time from the perspective of someone operating a stall rather than a visitor. Thoughtful and contemplative, it details the encounters of the stallholder and the titular Red Queen across centuries and explores what we feel like we must give up to survive and whether we can later get those things back. 7 Ways to Find Yourself at the Transdimensional Multi-Fandom Convention by Rachel K. Jones in Flash Fiction Online. A fun and thought-provoking piece about 2 versions of the same guy, from different dimensions, meeting up every year at a convention. A lovely flash fiction about being kind to yourself and about the small realities that might occur when you can be friends with an altered version of yourself from a slightly changed world, where you've made different choices, but where any version isn't necessarily better. Everything in the Garden is Lovely by Hannah Yang in Apex magazine. Quiet and haunting, this one has an ambitious first line that it definitely delivers on. Our narrator has failed to give her society the children that they expect, and thus her body is expected to give back in another way by transforming into a garden. This story documents that transition process in the steady, reluctant, realistic feeling way that many of us adopt when faced with a negative change that feels inevitable. Baba Yaga Goes North by Alison Wall in Crow and Cross Keys. A very short, gentle and joyous story about giving up one's old life and its associated societal expectations, and instead embracing the life that you are meant to have. Wall writes in such a precise, beautiful way that makes Baba Yaga Goes North simultaneously uplifting and cozy. I found this so satisfying. In my opinion, 2024 was a really strong year for short fiction, and there were many other stories that could have easily been on this list as well. Of the 10 that I ultimately picked, the strongest through line throughout most of them was that of transformation, of one's consciousness, body, world into something wildly different. And often throughout that transformation, the struggle to and the striving to maintain human connection while that happened. Thanks so much for joining me on this journey, and I look forward to reading lots more fantastic stories in 2025. If you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.